We set a 5,000 ounce gold, and we're able to up the ante. We're in striking distance of 7,000 ounces, which is unbelievable.
What if the biggest moment of the season was only the beginning? Just when it seemed like everything had finally paid off with a massive $10 million gold haul, the story took a turn no one could have predicted. Beneath the surface, hidden deep within the frozen ground, there was something far greater waiting, something that could completely change the future of the entire operation. What started as a desperate push to survive the season was suddenly transforming into a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, the kind of discovery miners dream about, but almost never find. Parker Schnabel and his crew had already risked everything to get this far, fighting brutal conditions, dangerous terrain, and constant uncertainty. They had pushed through equipment failures, freezing temperatures, and the kind of pressure that can break even the most experienced teams. And just when they thought they had secured a major win, new evidence began to reveal that the gold vein they uncovered wasn't just rich, it was enormous. Stretching deeper and farther than anyone imagined, it hinted at a fortune that could go far beyond millions, possibly into something legendary. But with opportunity comes risk. The deeper they go, the higher the stakes become. More gold means more pressure, more competition, and more danger. In the unforgiving world of the Klondike, nothing stays secret for long, and a discovery like this has the power to attract attention from every direction. The question is no longer just about finding gold. It's about whether Parker and his team can handle what comes with it. Subscribe now and turn on notifications, because this story is only getting started, and the next chapter might be the most unbelievable yet. Any attempt to dig risked triggering massive collapses, huge slabs of frozen earth and rock crashing down without warning. And as if that wasn't enough, there was also the constant threat of flooding. If water seeped in from melting ice or underground sources, it could instantly weaken the shaft and wipe out millions of dollars in machinery in seconds. With all of that stacked against them, most crews wouldn't even consider it. But Parker isn't most crews. Where others saw a death trap, he saw a challenge. Not something to avoid, but something to conquer. Walking away was never part of his mindset. If there was gold at the bottom of that shaft, he was going after it, no matter what. Still, determination alone wasn't going to solve this. So instead of relying purely on brute force, Parker changed the game. He turned to advanced technology, bringing in tools and aerial data that miners from the past could only dream about. This wasn't just digging anymore. This was strategy. With high-tech mapping and precision planning, Parker and his team began to study the Widow's Cut in ways no one ever had before. Standing there, looking out over that dangerous terrain, you can almost imagine him saying to his crew, "This is the problem we have to solve." They don't call it permafrost for nothing. It's frozen solid, permanently. And that made this job insanely difficult. As one crew member put it, it'd really help if we got at least a few hours above 35 degrees. But sitting around waiting for warmer weather? That just wasn't an option. So instead, the crew turned to cutting-edge tech. They rolled out a state-of-the-art LiDAR system, something most people don't realize has completely changed the game for modern mining. LiDAR, short for light detection and ranging, fires millions of laser pulses to build a super detailed 3D map of the terrain. Then they combine that with advanced drone mapping, creating a powerful system that gave them a whole new perspective on the land. Honestly, whoever thought of combining those tools? Genius. Because what it revealed was something miners had been chasing and failing to find since the 1980s. At first, the plan was simple. Dig a brand new path down into the mine, a fresh ramp, maybe even a new shaft. But with frozen ground, constant collapse risks, and the threat of flooding, that approach quickly started to look like a disaster waiting to happen. It would take too long, cost too much, and might not even work. And time was something they couldn't afford to waste. Every extra day meant burning through fuel, paying wages, and getting zero gold in return. If they wanted to survive this high-stakes season, they needed results, and fast. That's when the technology delivered. By combining the LiDAR scans with drone data, the team uncovered something incredible, something completely hidden from view. Beneath layers of earth and overgrowth, the system exposed a long-lost access point. a buried entrance leading straight toward the gold. No one saw that coming. What they found was an old vertical shaft, collapsed, forgotten, and swallowed by nature over decades. According to their measurements, it dropped more than 40 meters straight down, over 130 feet into the ground. And suddenly, everything changed. Instead of carving a dangerous new path through permafrost, they had a shot at reopening this old one. It wouldn't be easy. It was risky, unstable, and honestly pretty terrifying. But it might be their best chance. So, they went for it. Using heavy-duty steel reinforcements and pure determination, Parker's crew carefully stabilized the shaft. Step by step, they created a pathway down into the darkness, into a part of the mine no one had been able to reach for years. You can imagine the shift in energy, weeks of frustration, replaced by pure adrenaline. They finally had a direct route to the gold, and when they got down there, it paid off. Almost immediately, they broke into an untouched quartz-rich gold vein, something straight out of a miner's dream. It was clean, rich, and incredibly pure. In fact, Parker's geologist called it one of the best natural deposits he had ever seen. There was no time to celebrate. The team jumped into action, working fast and non-stop. In a place as competitive as the Klondike, word travels quickly, and the last thing they wanted was someone trying to move in on their claim. So, they pushed hard, and what happened next was unbelievable. In just over 72 hours, 3 days of relentless around-the-clock work, they pulled more than 4,000 ounces of gold out of that single vein. Let that sink in. One cleanup. Over 4,000 ounces. When they calculated the value, it came out to more than $10 million. That single haul didn't just make the effort worth it. It practically secured their entire season. Fuel, transport, operations, covered. And the craziest part? This was only the beginning for Parker, his crew, and what could be one of the richest gold sites they've ever worked. That $10 million haul didn't just save the season. But what came next was even more unbelievable, because buried deeper beneath that same ground, there was something far bigger waiting. As the team studied the gold and analyzed the geology of the vein, a shocking realization hit them. It wasn't just a small pocket, it was massive, much larger and more extensive than anyone had first imagined. After running the numbers based on its thickness and direction, they estimated the vein could stretch another 2 kilometers underground. That's over a mile of gold still untouched. And this is where things got crazy. Factoring in the richness of the deposit and its sheer size, the crew calculated that this single vein could hold up to $75 million more in gold. If they could actually pull that off, this wouldn't just be a good season. This could become the most successful season in Gold Rush history. But nothing about this was going to be easy. To reach that kind of payoff, they'd have to keep grinding nonstop, pushing deeper, working harder, and staying ahead of a new problem: competition. Because in the Klondike, news like this doesn't stay quiet for long. And sure enough, it spread fast. Almost overnight, word of Parker's discovery lit up the entire region. Other miners, full crews, even inspectors started circling. Everyone wanted a look. Everyone wanted answers. But Parker had already made his move. The claim was secured, locked down legally. No loopholes, no chances. That ground belonged to him, and no one else was getting near it. And honestly, you can see why. This wasn't just another gold strike. This was the strike. The kind of discovery miners dream about, but almost never find. The kind that makes years of struggle, risk, and setbacks finally make sense. Parker had bet everything: money, time, and the trust of his crew. And now, it was paying off in a way no one could have predicted. Across the Yukon, people weren't just watching. They were talking. Rumors started flying everywhere. Was this the biggest gold discovery of the century? Had Parker just changed the game completely? And with those questions came pressure. Would this give him more power in the mining world? Would rival crews try to make a move? Could he even manage something this massive without it slipping out of control? Because at this point, this wasn't just about gold anymore. This was about power, reputation, legacy. The stakes had doubled overnight. More money meant more attention and more expectations. Every decision now mattered more than ever, and the impact wouldn't stop with Parker's crew. A discovery this big could shift the entire Klondike. Land prices could surge. New miners could flood in. Competition could explode. It was like dropping a stone into calm water. The ripple effect would spread everywhere. But Parker didn't flinch. He stayed locked in. This was the moment he'd been chasing for years, and he wasn't about to let it slip through his fingers. He knew what it took to survive out here. He'd battled harsh seasons, broken equipment, and brutal cold. But this was different. This was his chance to become something bigger. A name that would be remembered. Some people will say it was luck. Others will call it instinct. But however it happened, one thing is clear. Parker Schnabel just changed the game. And this story, it's far from over. What happens next could define everything. Can he keep control of an operation this massive? Will his team rise to the pressure or crack under it? One thing's certain. The king of the Klondike has made his move, and now the entire world is watching. Parker's $75 million gamble turned a deadly mine into a legendary jackpot. But with a discovery this big, has he just opened the door to a whole new kind of danger? And just when it feels like the story has reached its peak, that's exactly where the uncertainty begins. Because discoveries like this don't just bring opportunity, they bring consequences. Deep beneath Widow's Cut, that gold vein isn't just sitting there, waiting peacefully. The deeper Parker's crew pushes, the more unpredictable the ground becomes. Pressure builds in ways no scan or drone can fully predict. One wrong move, one weak support, one sudden shift in frozen earth, and everything could change in seconds. Not just the operation, but the lives working inside it. And yet, they keep going. Because this isn't just about pulling gold out of the ground anymore. It's about finishing what they started. It's about proving that every risk, every sleepless night, every dollar spent chasing something invisible was worth it. But here's the reality no one can ignore. The bigger the discovery, the harder it becomes to control. With millions, possibly hundreds of millions, on the line, every decision Parker makes from here on out will carry weight. Expansion means more workers, more machines, more moving parts, and more chances for things to go wrong. Managing a site this valuable isn't just mining. It's leadership under pressure, where one mistake could cost everything. And then there's the outside world. Because a strike like this doesn't stay contained forever. Investors start watching. Rival crews start calculating. Questions start building. People want a piece of something this big, even if they're not supposed to have it. So now Parker faces something he's never dealt with at this level before. Not just the challenge of finding gold, but the challenge of protecting it. Holding on to a claim like this, scaling it, defending it, and still turning it into profit without losing control, that's a completely different game. And the truth is, not everyone who strikes it rich stays on top. Some operations collapse under their own success. Others get buried in complications, costs, or conflicts that spiral out of control. History has shown it time and time again. The biggest wins can sometimes create the biggest downfalls. So, the real question isn't how much gold is still in the ground. The real question is, what happens when they try to take it all out? Can Parker stay ahead of the pressure? Can his crew handle what this discovery is turning into? Or has this legendary strike just set the stage for an even bigger battle? Because one thing is certain. This isn't the end of the story. It's the moment everything changes. And as the Klondike holds its breath, every eye locked on that frozen ground, one truth rises above everything else. This is no longer just a gold hunt. It's a high-stakes gamble where everything can be won or lost in an instant. Because the deeper they go, the thinner that line becomes. One decision could unlock unimaginable wealth, or trigger a chain reaction that brings the entire operation crashing down. There's no safe path forward now, only risk, pressure, and the relentless pursuit of something bigger than anyone ever expected. But this is exactly where legends are made. Moments like this don't come twice, and Parker knows it. The opportunity is massive, but so is the danger. Every move from here will define not just this season, but his entire legacy in the Klondike. So the question is no longer what's buried below. It's whether he can survive what it takes to reach it. Don't miss what happens next. Subscribe now and turn on notifications because the next chapter could change everything.